Ben is a doctoral level board certified behavior analyst who completed his PhD in special education from Ball State University, earned his MA and ABA in educational psychology from Ball State University, his BA in psychology from Purdue University. He's an instructor for the ABA program at Ball State University and is the principal and founder of Collaborate ABA. Ben has been working in the field of ABA since 2003 and has been fortunate to work under the guidance of Dr. Susan Wikskinski, I hope I said that right, Dr. Carl Sundberg, Dr. Patrick McGreevy, Dr. Mark Sundberg, Dr. John Ash and Barbara Ash, and Dr. Peter Gerhardt. He has experience working with all ages and in-home programs, schools, and center-based therapy. Ben works with individuals of all ages. However, he specializes in working with adolescents and adults. I also want to mention Ben was an instrumental part of starting this organization and served on board for what, decade? For a really long time. And he still jumps in and supports ATX ABA whenever we need anything, and continues to offer the RBT study prep sessions and donates coffee to the conference and does all sorts of little and big things for ATEX. We also have Josh Liemer. He's a board certified behavior analyst who graduated from Ithaca College with a BS in psychology, where he was a 4-year letter winner on the intercollegiate football team. I also hope I said that word right too. Intercollegiate. While in his undergraduate studies, Josh worked as a one-on-one ABA teaching assistant, receiving consultation from the Carbone Clinic in Valley Forge, New York. Upon leaving Ithaca, Josh worked at a school for children with special needs in Syracuse, New York, while earning an MED in teaching and curriculum with a concentration in special education at Syracuse University. Josh left New York to move to Tuberon, California, to serve as a full-time live-in one-on-one ABA therapist and a personal assistant to a 21-year-old man with autism, working on social skills, recreation activities, and activities of daily living. Since 2017, Josh has been living in Austin, Texas. He learned the verbal behavior approach to ABA as a center-based behavior technician while earning his master's degree in autism and developmental disabilities at the University of Texas at Austin. You guys, thank you so much for being here, and we look forward to hearing from you and learning from you.
Thank you, Natalia. I think first and foremost, like thank the ATX ABA. As many of you know, this organization is very important to me, and I think you guys are doing an amazing job. It's just really cool to see how I've come off, and I think you guys have grown a lot more. I think maybe me leaving was a big help to you guys taking the next step. I also want to think, just talking to board member, I think we should all thank Amanda Tammy. She's talking to Jessica right now, but Amanda's doing an amazing job. The board speaks so highly of her, and I think what you're doing is just amazing. So all you guys, thank you so much. Yeah, so we're going to talk today about some things we're doing with our practice and some fun things. So I'm going to actually let Josh take over for a moment. So
all right, so
here you go.
If we're going to be doing an exercise presentation, we have to do some exercise first. So let's all stand up. We'll keep it nice and light. Just get the blood going, get the heart rate up. And as always, do as much as you can do. Meet your body where it's at. So first, we're going to try to do 10 touches to the floor or your toes, your knees, wherever you can go. Can we count together?
Let's come together. Let's do some road.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right after lunch, too. Okay. 10. All right. What's the next?
Let's do the curls.
Yeah. All right. So we want to show you too that you don't need formal gym equipment and weights to do these exercises. So everyone either take your computer, your notebook, water bottle, do some curls.
I'll get these curls.
You dropped them.
10 curls.
1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and then last of all, we'll do 10 squats, just to your chair, and on the final one, you can remain seated. All right. So just touch your butt to the chair, if you can. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. I'm just work about laughing here. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. You guys can settle in.
Faster. I know.
So the problem that we were looking at, many adolescents and adults with autism fall into what we would call the obese category. And this can be for many reasons, but the main reasons, like most people, are due to lack of exercise, unhealthy eating habits. In addition, many of these clients have mental health issues, diagnosed or not, including depression and anxiety. So a lot of our learners, they might not have the communication skills to express that they're feeling some type of way, whereas we could. So a lot of these go undiagnosed. I'm gonna hit you with some stats. Obesity is more prevalent in people with autism, with estimates suggesting that 30% to 35% of autistic adults are obese, and up to 31.8% of children with autism are classified as obese. Autistic children are approximately 1.6 times more likely to be overweight or obese compared to their typically developing peers.
What do you guys think that is?
Hard to restrict access to preferred foods.
Yeah.
More preferred activities that are not active.
Yeah.
Not that they would like go into extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Medication.
They're always stuck indoors.
Yeah.
Restrictions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the brain.
Yeah. Oh, man, you're good. You said.
How many of you guys have a learner who, from a really young age, their primary reinforcer was some sort of snack or edible food item? It's hard to break that once they become an adult.
Me too. How about our clients who, the little guys, right? Who are, clean for 40 hours a week, are they getting recess in gym time? Right? And it's mandated by school that have that, because they need to get out and move around. They're not doing that. Automatic, right? So it's our environments, right? Like we don't change behavior, we change environmental variables. Think about that.
A study found that 35% of adults with autism spectrum disorder are obese. Obesity ranges between 7.9% and 31.8%, with one study specifically finding 31.8% in adolescents. Risk factors. The risk is higher for those with more severe autism traits. Some contributing factors, causes that we just talked about, diet preference, consumption of calorie-dense foods, higher medication usage, and antipsychotics. And these rates are indicating a higher risk of obesity compared to the general population.
Okay. So, autism and depression. Research highlights, starting reality, approximately 40% of autistic individuals experience depression at some point in their lives. Now, that's the ones we know of, right? And we don't, not everybody can say that. Not everybody's happy who can help them figure that out, or we help parents figure that out. The number is not just a stat, it represents a significant portion of the autistic community who face profound challenges. Let me just be honest with you guys here, like, I'm gonna ask people to raise their hand. I've been depressed, right? I take medication for it every day. I haven't had an episode in a long time, but I think it's because I probably take medication for it every day. It's also that I'm trying to be healthier and active and everything, but still, so if we're like this, right, then why keep people with autism? It's kind of like a stat I heard from Dr. Garrett one time. He's like, a lot of people think that people with autism or any kind of developmental delay is harder, puberty is harder. Well, not really. And they're kind of like everybody else, because it's kind of like a 10-80-10 rule, right? 10% of people going through puberty have it really hard. Like it's tough time. 80% roughly, it's going to be, ups and downs, but it's not too bad. And you have 10% the people that we hate, right? Who it's easy for them. So, so we look at our own lives and stuff and think about that. Our clients are in that same area for a lot of these things. So, the impact of depression on autistic people is far reaching. Depression can diminish their quality of life, right? Obviously, this is nothing new to how it would for us. High risk of suicidal ideation and attempts, increased feelings of loneliness and employment difficulties. Man, I remember just on a personal thing, like I didn't realize I was depressed for a while, and I did, and I realized, was I still a good behavior analyst like at the time, like before I figured that out? You know. By the way, I have a whole different presentation on this kind of thing. I will tell people like probably my proudest moment of my adult life, other than like having a son and like my wife and everything. Yeah. I figured out one morning I was depressed. I'm like, oh shit, I think I'm depressed. I called my wife and she was like, I was going to talk to you about this. I bawled. I will tell you, 4 hours later, I was in my doctor's office. 6 hours later, I had my first my first Lexapro. So like, it's I grew up with a father who amazing man, but he was manic depressive, bipolar, and he didn't always take his medicine when he was manic because he felt good. So I lived in a house where it's like, if you're not taking your medicine, what happens? So I was like, talk about that too, and especially like with our clients as well. So, I just the ripple effects things into caregivers, obviously, right? Face increased stress and challenges. Look at the research came out of COVID. Look how much more abuse cases there were. Look how much parents depressed. There was parents, going through a really hard time because man, it was tough. All of our lives changed, right? It wasn't fun. So that makes a lot of sense. It's estimated that 40 to 80% of people with autism experience significant anxiety or a diagnosed anxiety disorder. Man, don't we all have anxiety, right? Anymore, like, and it's real, right? Like we have anxiety, and like some of it's warranted, right? Like sometimes we have warranted anxiety, and that's fine. Like we're gonna have that. I mean, once anxiety a lot, I mean that's hard, and it can be numbing, right? And it can lead to depression. So, and it's hard for us to figure out, right? Like when I was probably depressed for like 3-4 months before I knew I was depressed, right? Like, so how about our guys who can't tell us these things, right? So we got to be thinking about that. This is significantly higher than the general population, with specific phobias and social anxiety being particularly common. Guys, anxiety sucks, right? I mean, flat out. Research suggests that 29 to 50% of adults with autism have anxiety disorder, compared to roughly 18% of the neurotypical population. I'd say it's probably more than 18% of the neurotypical population. I would say it's probably more that they're diagnosed and are like a medication for it. That's my guess, but I don't know. Common manifestations: anxiety in autistic individuals can present social anxiety. Yeah, us too. Social phobia. Yeah, us too. And obsessive compulsive disorder. Kind of us too, right? Some of us. It may also appear as behavior issues like tantrums, avoidance, and meltdowns. Well, yeah, no shit, right? I mean, yeah. How many times are you not yourself, right? When you have anxiety, you're not perfect. Yesterday, great example. It's been a heck of a week, man. I can tell you, it's been tough, dude. I had a client the other day that at a school, she was like a cat the entire time. And then you find out all the trauma, and it's real big trauma, right? You're like, oh. And that just, man, that puts me at a weird place, right? I'm sure it does you guys too. And then you probably put more on yourself, right? Because you want to make sure you're not going to cause that kind of trauma, right? So, and there's some really good highs this week with the same client, but like, man, we have stuff going on. And so we're not having perfect days. We're not perfect all the time. We can't be because we're humans. Our clients can't either. What's the impact? High anxiety levels in autistic people often correlate with a lower quality of life. Us too. Challenges in social functioning. Yep. And sleep issues. We're not all that different, are we? Guys, let's look at this. One leading causes of death in the U.S. Josh, kind of go over a couple of these that would go with obesity and anxiety and depression.
So the number one leading cause of death in the U.S. I don't want to guess. I know it's right up here. Heart disease.
Good job, guys. Hold on. Who's at heart disease? This guy did it. You did. There you go.
And I believe it's number 6 is diabetes. And so if this is the stat for the U.S. population, I think it'd be naive of us to think that's going to pass over the clients that we work with. So it's a sign to consider.
Stroke. That could be because of a lack of exercise. We know we have exercise in our life and we're eating better. A lot of things are going to go down. Low respiratory disease. Now, that a lot of times can also be like you smoke a lot. Well, don't let your client smoke. Or try not to. There's a lot of these things on here that will go into if we're not healthy, right? We're not trying to be healthy. You don't gotta be perfect, but let's be on the right path. I think it's you guys.
All right. So, did you know current evidence indicates that exercise is as effective as pharmacotherapy in reducing depressive symptoms in individuals with depression?
So real quick on that, pharmacotherapy just means medication, right? And you know now, what's happening now, doctors are more than ever saying that before I treat you with medication for depression, I need you to start being on a program for your exercise, okay?
They'll quite literally prescribe exercise.
Yeah. Like now, we're not going to sit here and tell you guys, don't take medication if you're depressed. That's not what we do. We're not going to tell you guys that. But we know it helps. We know the research is really going toward that. So, yeah.
Got a cool chart here. It shows all the good stuff that medication gives you, all those nice chemicals that go up to your brain.
There you go. That's you. I love these things.
Now, what's fun about this, exercise does the same thing.
And guess what? Here's something that really happens. Oh, next slide. Sorry, I'll touch on this one. Okay, as your heart begins to pound, your brain chemistry reacts almost immediately to give those feeling better, physically and mentally. Here's what's great about that, guys. I remember when I first got on medication, and I can only speak about myself, so I can't. My doctor and my brother always say, "Hey, it's only about 2-3 weeks for you to really kind of kick in, right?" Now my brother had a little thing. He said, "He's like, hey, you might feel a little better initially because you know you're doing something. You're trying to do something like this to help," and that was true. But it takes about 2 weeks to get going, right? Almost immediately, guys. I'm not saying one exercise and you're depression. No, we're not saying that. We're saying those things that we just talked about, your endorphin, dopamine, serotonin, those levels are going to go up, which is a good thing, right? If nothing else, it's a good thing.
As someone who has also experienced it, I was at a time formerly diagnosed with depression. I can tell you that you'll take any small win you can get. And so if you hit a nice workout, even in that little moment, you might feel better about yourself. So just, collecting those small wins as you're waiting for that medication to start working.
Okay, we're proud of this. I'm not an AI guy, but I said, hey, let me take a second back. We forgot to mention there was a third presenter with us today, but her husband got her a trip to Mexico, and they left yesterday, so it's awesome. But she is my personal trainer, and she's done a lot of work with us, and her name is Carla. So KC Personal Training. So I asked AI to make a visual of Collaborate, ABA, and KC Personal Training working together to fight obesity and depression. And this is what came up. Okay. But there are a couple of differences. The first one was KC Personal Training, and this was Collaborate. I'm like, no. Make the woman KC Personal Training, and then this, and then Jeff. You? No, we're gonna get that.
Just like
so I sent to Josh. Hey, what do you think? He goes, "Is a guy in the hat supposed to be me?" I go, "No, Josh. This is obviously Josh."
Yeah.
Josh is. We went somewhere a few weeks ago for 2 days. He took all this food. I'm like, he's a machine when it comes to like an eater. So yes, this is Josh. This is, I'm guessing, an obese kid. I don't know his name, but he's obese. Like, man, I don't know how to fight this, but I want to fight. I need these guys' help. I'm guessing. I don't know. That's what AI gave me. I was going to take him out, but I didn't. I like him. It could be me as well. I don't know. Could be my son Jordan. I don't know.
So ominous in the background.
I know. Well,
Sorry.
Obesity and depression can be Godzilla like, guys.
Pretty tough.
But that's what it gave me, and I kind of like it.
All right, so we're going to share 3 different case studies that we've done with either previous clients or current clients. And so for one of them, we have the client acronym. The other 2, we use pseudonyms. I actually use 2 television characters I currently like, so you guys will see if you like the similar characters. Got Duncan, 16-year-olds. Anyone watching Night of the Seven Kingdoms? Thoughts? Good, right?
Josh, by the way, does a thing on his Instagram where he talks about these shows.
Just saw that.
I try to do a live review after every finale.
Great.
You know, like there's spoilers, so I had to turn it off.
Well, there's always spoilers. So if you're not watching, we got CB. He's a current client of, Ben's the primary BCB on the case.
Have you ever heard me speak ever? We're talking about CB. His mom was like, when we use CB. So that's what we did. I call him CB a lot.
And then last of all, we have Steven, any Tell Me Lies fans out there.
Oh.
So Steven, he's the antagonist of the show, but he gets the last laugh in the end.
No spoiler.
All right. Sorry, no spoilers. So, okay, first we have Duncan. And Duncan was a client of mine, age 16. I worked with him about 2.5 years ago.
By the way, did you work with them before?
So I had worked with him 7 years prior at Central Texas Autism Center. And I'll get into what was different about when I had previously worked with him. Diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. He would have inconsistent bowel movements to the point he was having a successful bowel movement once every 24 days on average. And when he would have these bowel movements, it wasn't a nice log or sausage, it was soup. So you got to imagine the pain he was experiencing. He would engage in severe challenging behaviors in the form of physical aggression, self-injurious behavior, property destruction, pica. He'd eat and put anything and everything in his mouth, elopement, and then flopping to the ground. His self-injurious behavior, he would hit his head, he'd bite his hand, and he would try to put his head through any surface he could get a hold of. So drywall, window, or a glass window or glass door, and even he would attempt brick and concrete. As we know, you can't put your head through brick or concrete.
No, about 24 days.
And you also got to imagine, so this guy on day 23, what his behaviors might have looked like, and how he's feeling, given he hasn't had a bowel movement in so long. He was heavily medicated, and so due to some of these bowel issues and these severe challenging behaviors, parents tried anything and everything to get him to shit. They tried Klonopin, ketamine, marijuana, Linzess, Miralax. We've come to learn with some of the things like Linzess and Miralax kind of makes the stool go around and it forms a ball in your stomach, but you're not really passing the stool. And so it just builds up more and more and can create even more pain.
So let's touch on that for a second too. So what happens is, I think this is my some take on it. This is the doctor's face. You get this big ball of stool. It also it's poison, right? And so it's not coming out. When it does come out, I bet I don't feel good. So why would you want to go to the bathroom, right? And so what Miralax does, it just kind of goes around. And so imagine taking Miralax, like if you guys ever had any Miralax, one night, my story, I thought I was taking my like this Tum stuff, like a drink. Oh, that's milk of magnesia. Crap, this is gonna be a rough night. Your stomach hurts, like when you're on your way to the bathroom. Imagine a person doing that and not going. Guys, this client of ours had 2 or 3 times they tried to do a
Colonoscopy,
prep.
withheld the whole
He
prep.
didn't go. Imagine that. So he trained himself not to go. This is hell. So all this stuff, no shit,
And so
right?
he was obese. He was about 5'6", weighing a little bit over 250 pounds.
How big was he when you first knew him?
So when I knew him 7 years ago, little guy, thin, active, athletic, couldn't get him to stop moving, running around, doing all these activities. And so it was pretty alarming to see what he had become. So we went to countless doctor's appointments to try to figure out what is going on here. How can we help him? We went to the gastroenterologist, I don't know how many times. We went to the pediatrician, the physician. We were in the operating room numerous times. We even went to the emergency room. I used to be terrified of needles and getting blood drawn and all that. After being there with him so much, not a thing anymore. But doesn't faze me anymore.
Dr. Josh coming to like surgery to help this guy get going.
They would scrub me up. It was was interesting.
They knew, that's how much Josh was there, knew the doctor. A lot.
So we tried to collaborate with every mentor we know and multiple health professionals. So we contacted Dr. Pat McGreevy, we contacted Troy Fry, contacted Dr. Greg Hanley, contacted Dr. Carl Sundberg, contacted Dr. Susan Wojcinski, even contacted Dr. Ben Siefert. Nobody knew what to do. We were, no pun, we were shit out of luck. So our come to Jesus moment during one of these many doctor's appointments that we had, the doctor told mom and dad, if this doesn't get fixed within the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to have to remove half, if not more, of your son's colon. And for this guy who has all these challenging behaviors, he couldn't have tolerated what's the thing called?
So,
He
that's
could.
one of your real tough clients having class tonight. I'm on the back on that.
Right.
5 minutes, maybe?
Who's gonna work?
Right. Right.
So that was quite literally a death sentence. And at that point, we're all like, we got to figure something out and figure something out fast. And so here's where Carla, who Ben alluded to before, starts to come into play. Ben was doing his personal training with her at the time, and he just ran it by her. And she suggested, why don't you just try to get him moving? Maybe that'll shake things up and, I don't know, maybe start coming out. So that's what we did. I started a walking program with him. And on day one, we walked from his front door to the end of the driveway. And he absolutely hated it.
Oh, yes, correct. This was in a 2-month time frame. That's the balance you had.
So yeah, as you can see, it's about once every 24 days. And again, it was soup. We're looking for sausage. We're looking for log. We have a whole stool rating chart.
The rating chart, you guys want to see this?
Got really good at identifying different types of shit. And then here's our daily intensity of behavior. So we'd be on a scale of 1 to 3, 3 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. 1 is more of your precursors. 3 is he's trying to put his head or has put his head through the drywall. So here's where we had one of those like soupy bowel movements, and it was much lower intensity.
Yeah, I want to say another one was like right here.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I was just curious, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
that zero was definitely they had a big bad movement. Yeah.
Right.
And early in the morning, like when they got there.
So we begin this exercise program. Like I said, day one, we walk about the length of the driveway. And slowly but surely, every day, we begin walking a little more and a little more and a little more. We got him to the point he was actually now wearing sneakers. He'd be wearing clothes on his walks. We bring some of his reinforcers, preferred items. But we knew this wasn't enough because we still weren't getting any sort of consistent bowel movements. So we contacted Carla again. And we said, hey, Carla, do you think you can come in person, see our guy Duncan, and do a consult? And maybe you have some ideas. So she comes in, and she's in there. She's having him lift weights over his head, doing squats, doing different movements. She was even dancing with him. She's very attractive, so I don't blame him for wanting to dance with her. But then what was really interesting, she tried to have him do some stretches, and you could see this guy was doing anything in his right mind to not do these stretches because it would have put his body in such a compromising position. It would have all just exploded out. So that's when we knew.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's when we knew if we can really hit this exercise and increase all the different movements, we might have some success here. So there's our graph. Our first line here. That's when we started our walking program. And here's when Carla comes in for that consult and we begin doing all those other exercises. And these are every day. You never had more bowel movement more than one time a day, but this is daily. So we worked our way up to about a mile. We do a mile a day, and about in duration about a half an hour. And keep in mind, not all miles are created equal, because if he is having behavior, it's going to take a lot longer. Or if he's like really locked in and going fast, it's going to be a lot shorter. So we cared more about the distance and less about the duration. And behaviors decreased significantly. So we were living in that 3 and 2 range, and we got down to, maybe some whining, maybe an isolated head hit, some tap refusal, but for the most part, and you got to imagine because he was feeling a lot better.
We also found one thing too is important is that, well, we have to remember sometimes, I think we live in this space of all these reinforcers that, you know, it makes sense toilet for longer, whatever. That's not the reinforcer. The reinforcer is voiding, right? Make you feel better. And maybe we have to think about like intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation, things that we want to do because we want to, like we don't need any extrinsic. Extrinsic is like, you know, like you get something for doing it. When you have intrinsic motivation to do something, if you add an extrinsic variable there, it will take away from intrinsic. Does that make sense? So when that happens, yeah, exactly. So when that happens, we're in trouble. So when you're working on a program like this, remember what the reinforcer. What is the reinforcer? Not having a candy out. That helps great. But he wants to feel better. He doesn't even know he wants to feel better, right? But voiding is what made him feel better. And we would see even like how happy he was after he voided. Yeah.
So results, we had an increase in bowel movements. You would have never seen people so excited about shit. We were
The graph, guys, but it's kind of a weird graph because how they do it. He had a graph of like the consistency of the bowel movement. And like, but it's weird because like one will be like, what's one? It's like pebbles almost.
one's pebbles, seven is soup,
4 is like, you know, you're 3, 4 are like
log, and they call it log or sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird graph. Like, I went wrong because
If you're interested in that chart, we have it. We could send it to
Yeah.
you. It gives you a nice visual of what it looks like.
Josh Filler on it.
But so we got to the point. He was having a bowel movement about 2 to 3 times per week, which is awesome compared to once every 24 days. He lost weight, lost about 15 to 20 pounds. And that wasn't even our target of this. We just wanted to have consistent bowel movements. But between the exercise and then, you know, he had all that stool sitting in him, getting that out of him, he lost weight. Big decrease in challenging behavior. Home was no longer a war zone for parents. They weren't prisoners in their own home anymore.
He was a prisoner of his own body.
Healthier diet. So with the exercise, we did try to change around his diet as per recommendations from Carla, and we had a lot of success with that. So he was on your classic autism diet: chicken nuggets, pizza, hot dogs, carbs, chips. Switched it out for lean protein, so grilled chicken, ground beef, steak, fish. Try to add a lot of fiber, fruits, vegetables, greens. Eliminate sugary sodas and sports drinks for healthier options like sparkling water. And he was willing to have all that. So at that point, it's on us to provide it to him. We got him back in school. So he started going to school about 30 hours per week. And what was great about the school is they carried on the exercise too. So now he was getting it hit on 2 fronts from us, and they were doing it at school as well. So he was getting a lot of exercise. Kind of serves as a behavior cusp too, because now he has access to all these new reinforcers in the community. He loves going on car rides, loves going into the store, loves going out to eat, you know, for a healthier option.
Sometimes we don't have something bad sometimes, right? But not as much, and you start to like to
Yeah.
better food.
And then it's even something that parents were able to do with him. A lot of time we have parent training, and we're trying to make parents into some sort of behavior analysts. Like we want them running TACs or LRs. This is very doable for a parent. They can walk with their son or daughter or do a little workout routine. And they were great about it, and they would do it a couple times with him per week as well. Most importantly, he's happier. You know, as we see with those challenging behaviors, but he's just a happier guy now.
Yeah, we need to win, right? We need to win here. We need to win bad. And so, you know, I think where we came to this as a group was like, listen, Aaron was telling us, like, it wasn't that Dr. McGreevy and Dr. Hanley and Dr. Johnson weren't giving us good advice, but we were already doing those things. It was, we got to think outside the box here, right? I think so many times we stay inside of our little box, right? We love it, what we do. Well, that's not, Ben, that's not on the BB math. You know, please go beyond that. Yeah. So, yeah, and guys, Josh was the one who did all this. Like, I wish I could tell you I was every week. I was not. Josh was the one, training staff. He did an amazing job. I mean, he changed his life. Yeah. if you know me, you know CB. This guy's awesome. This is my dude. He's 30 years old now. I've worked with him for 11 years now. His ASD, severe, he's had a history of some severe challenging behavior, a little aggression, problem destruction, flopping, agitation. Heavily medicated. One of his big ones has been Risperidone, which we're going to be talking about here in a little bit. What awesome guy. I would tell you 8 years ago, he had to go to Austin Hospital and we were begging for him to go. He just put his head through the wall. He was also having about every 25 to 30 days. I will tell you one day, we're like, okay, when I get back today, 5 o'clock, we're going to have and called before I went. Chris heard me. And guess what? He went to the bathroom that day. So I think Chris, sorry, I said his name, but yeah, honestly, his mom is okay with that. This is like my brother almost. He's over 260 pounds. High cholesterol. So let's look at Chris in 2017. That's Chris. 140 pounds, healthy guy. This is Chris last year at 265 pounds right here. That's his brother Ben on their wedding day. I became a minister online in about 30 seconds and I married him to. But not these are his. That's Chris. We got him out there that day. That was fun. Chris got big, man. Now, let's just be really honest here. Why did he get bigger? Because, well, there's a few reasons. A, he's terrible, right? He sits around a lot. He loves to sit and watch people and watch stuff. Let's face it, his metabolism's slowing down, man, like all of ours does, right? So that's the thing. But I'll say probably the biggest factor of Chris is the Risperidone, because that's going to make you gain weight. But all the other things don't help it either, right? Right. So here's the way we took this for the last 2 months of last year. So about 266 and 268, right in that range. Here was his daily affect. So on him, I want to look at daily affect. So one is bad mood, 2 is okay mood, 3 is happy. Here's how I did this. I didn't take the data. I had his day have do it. I worked with them very closely, and his mom and brother. Did not tell them, but until they had. Mom knew we were doing it, but his brother, who works with some like at night, like a caregiver, we didn't tell him that we were doing this to see how things were. Mom knew. I would say we're 1 and 2 most days. He has some good days. There's some good days, but not amazing. We just want to see how does that fit. And so we started working with Carla on 1/7/2026. We took him to her house, and with Chris likes, he's very visual, so she made this for him. So I put these things out. I can show him like what we're going to do every day. He kind of likes this, and he's going to learn these things. And so different days. And this is just an example. So this might be one day we might switch some of these in there, but he likes to do this. He's pretty good at it. You got to get some help. One thing he needs sometimes, like as you're doing this stuff, you might have to modify things. So like one thing like we do for Chris, he takes like a medicine ball above his head and slams it down, right? Well, Chris first he didn't know where to go, so we made a target on the ground. Or we'll take a medicine ball and we put like a thing on the wall, right? And because he'll go here if you let him. If you put that little dot up there, he likes to do that. So work with your client to also kind of figure out how you're going to do the workout stuff. Here's his weight after we call the Carlo effect. Risperidone. So you're going to workout routine. He's already losing weight, right? So he got to 260 pretty quickly. Now, ladies, out to y'all know, guys usually lose weight faster than females. We took away I used to give him a large Dr. Pepper every day before day out. I've been on the phone doing when we do it. Have you noticed lately? It's like small Dr. Pepper or small Diet. Now, let's also be fair here. You got off Risperidone about a month ago, this past month. That's really helping. So I wish I could tell you this is all Ben and Carla and Josh here. No, it's not. He's off this medication. Let's look at his affect. So now we're seeing a lot more 3s. Right now, what happened, guys? I will apologize. We were like bringing graphs over. Things weren't coming over, so like we had a thing that said, this is when we started a workout routine, and this is when Risperidone began. So we're seeing, wow, I went up a lot. He loves, like, Chris is one of those guys, God, CB, sorry. He's one of these guys, like, he likes that pressure. He likes how that weight feels. You tell him to stop, he keeps going. Like, you're okay, okay. You know, he enjoys it. He also has the funniest thing he does. Like, I got to do my Chris impression. And, like, he's louder now when we go there. He's, like, talking louder. He's you say he's nonverbal, but he can say words and stuff. He'll be like, turn, rub. He does this too. And we're not correcting this because he'll catch the ball with throw to him. He'll go up, down, row. It's fine. We're not worried about that right now. We'll shape that up later, right? But he loves it. We're gonna do 10, Chris, and he wants to do 20. So it's like he enjoys it. We did see, wow, what happened here? Get off that respirator, man. It was a weird week. Going to bed real late. It just was a weird week for him. So I'm not saying, you know, he was still doing some workout, he'd do it, but it just was an odd week. But we see him, he's back. Took him to see that Elvis movie yesterday, by the way. He freaking loved it. Oh my gosh. Like, you know, if we go to a movie, he'll look at me like, are we ready to go? He's the whole time, he's like this the whole time. He's looking like, this is so good. And had a piece of pizza to him the whole time to eat it. He was just like he didn't want to miss smiling. I don't know. But like, so we've been doing with Chris, and it's not as intensive as what Josh was doing, but the effects are still really good. Like, we're seeing these really good effects, and we're really excited about that. Results so far, we have a couple here, but we lost 15 pounds, and since, you know, January 7th. So that's really good. I wish I had a shirt up him with like that same shirt on or something last week, because it was like a week or two ago. I'm like, that shirt fits him better. Or he got some new shirt. I'm like, wow, that's a little looser. He has some ways to go, but you know, he's doing well. He's just happier, man. Like, the guy's just happier. And honestly, that's what we should want for our clients, right? Because you know what? Like, we're big people with the handling stuff, right? Happy, relaxed, and engaged, right? Don't we all do better work when we're happy, relaxed, and engaged? If my son gets mad at homework, I go, hey, buddy, you're not happy, relaxed, and engaged. Just stop for a minute and get back there, you know? Well, that worked out pretty well. All right. Steven.
All right, so we have Steven, current client of mine. He's 31 years old. He has autism spectrum disorder and Cornelia de Lange syndrome. The severe challenging behaviors that he engages in: physical aggression and property destruction. He's also built kind of like a fire hydrant, and his physical aggression, hitting, punching, kicking, biting, headbutting, he'll tackle you. Fact, almost took out Ben for good at Walmart.
If I may say. What happened was, and we had to get something for one of our clients. We had to get headphones. We're walking around Walmart. He's so like sluggish. The guy, I just want to leave. Can we go? I'm like, sure, Diego. Let me go get this thing over here, over at this area, right on the way almost out. I've been hit a lot, right? I didn't see it coming, and Josh will say the rest.
I mean, just cold cocked him. I had never seen a pure punch from a client to a staff member. It was unbelievable. And now, two big things to Ben's credit. One, Ben did not fall to the ground. And then two, Ben was very composed. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people in our field would have probably retaliated in that instance, as we've seen in the news recently with some centers around our area. I think someone probably would have retaliated. And so Ben kept his cool, and it was business as usual. But I was shocked how hard he hit him.
I did not have the guy's teeth like the one person did have to get a center in the Texas area. I will tell you, I gave him a hell of a mean look. And I said to him, it was like, because he been hitting his sister and stuff. I'm like, I was shocked, right? So I didn't see it coming. I'm like, you don't ever hit anybody ever again. Now we'll go get these headphones. I'm gonna go get the headphones. I will say I let Josh take mine to the car after the back. I'm like, I don't even wait in line to hit somebody else. So, but and he said sorry and all that stuff. And I was like just one side about that. That was tough, right? I'm like, we're about to go get lunch. how do I deal with this? How do I act now, right, to him? And so I would say you just gotta be real with people. Like, I was like, hey man, usually I buy him lunch. He knew he should be buying his own lunch on these days, right? I'm like, hey man, you got your money? Like, you're buying your lunch. And he's saying sorry. He goes, you know what? Chris, I'm gonna tell you something. Shoot. Anyway, sorry.
Steven.
Steven, I'm the worst. Like Steven, let me tell you something. You're saying sorry to take away my pain in my head. And it's a real thing though, right? Like, I'm glad you're sorry. I'm glad you say you're not gonna do it again. But at the same time, like, hey man, that hurt. Like, it is okay to hurt. And then the hell, guys, when I leave the house that day, my tires go flat.
It's a tough day for Ben.
I admit it.
Steven, at the time, was a bit of a couch surfer. So he's been in group homes, been in the state hospital, various host homes, even landed in jail. These behaviors have landed him in jail. Now he is he's back with his mother, and things are going really well for about past 2 years. So he's not couching surfing currently.
Gosh, won't let me.
No. He's just like our other two, he's heavily medicated. And this is in part because he does have a history of seizures. But the side effect of all that medication is he's extremely fatigued, and any sort of physical task is very effortful and challenging for him. He's obese. He says 260 here. I'd say he's closer to 300. I mean, he's a big guy. So what was our come to Jesus moment with Steven? Went to the doctors. They said he was pre-diabetic. He's going to have type 2 diabetes in the next 3 to 4 years. He's having difficulty breathing while sleeping. So even at the end of the day, when he's just laying there, he's taking his nighttime medication, he's having difficulty with his lungs and his breathing. I was at a visit with him with his psychiatrist. He does talk therapy. He fell getting out of his minivan, which is right on the ground. There's no step. And literally could not get up. It took myself and his mom to get him up off the ground. And so that could have been a potentially very dangerous situation. And he was also told he has high cholesterol. So again, contacted Carla. How can we help out Steven? What can we do to make this guy's life better? She created a workout plan. Now, for him, we have not started the formal workout plan yet. But we have been doing a similar walking program that I had done with Duncan. We've added it's a daily thing that we do. We're up to about maybe 0.75 miles, so 3/4 of a mile every day. And he's also walking his dog now, so he's getting some exercise there. They have their mailbox is kind of down the road about a half a mile. Mom has him walk out to the mailbox to get his mail. So he is starting to slowly get some exercise. And just like the other two, we've changed his diet around, really eliminating fried foods and a lot of those sugary drinks. Results. He lost about 5 pounds so far, so he's doing good in that front. Like I mentioned, healthier diet. He's eating a lot better. Again, this is another guy, he's willing to eat a lot of those fruits, vegetables, and things that you offered him. So that means it's on you to provide it to him. Lower cholesterol. And we've seen a significant decrease in challenging behavior. In fact, from time to time, he will now work with Ben, and there's been no more incidents.
We went to Walmart. I tell you, you look around like place.
Yeah.
And I was kind of looking around like this place. You get it.
Like an awkward date almost. And again, I really think for him, for Steven, this has served as a behavior cusp. Now we can go in the community and we can go to Walmart, we can go to the Dollar Tree. Before, it was effortful for him just to get out of his car, to walk from his car to the storefront, to walk around the store. He can do all these things now and not be exhausted. There's certain leisure activities he can do now. Going to the bowling alley, going to the movie theater, the arcade, the park. We've gone to a couple football games. We even went to a Valentine's Day dance a couple weeks back. So these are things that he did not have the physical capacity to do a few months ago. All right, so you've heard our case studies, and hopefully you're wondering, well, how do I get started to do one of these programs with one of my clients? First, like any program or target or new client you're starting with, we always want to rule out any medical issues. So get them into the doctor, check in with mom or dad or their guardian, find out their medical history. Do they have anything underlying that doing some sort of exercise is going to trigger or affect? So, that might be something like heart, lungs. If they have a history of seizures, is exerting them going to trigger a seizure? Find that out ahead of time. Just to be safe. Take baseline data. So when you're in said doctor visit, find out what is their weight, what is their BMI, their body mass index, what is their cholesterol levels. You can measure their waist. And then we could look at more some of the exercises and the physical measurements. So what distance can they do? How long can they work out for? How many repetitions can they do? And how much weight can they lift? So take all this baseline as your starting point. Establish contingencies. So show them when you participate in this activity, you are going to receive whatever it might be. What are their reinforcers? What are they motivated by? Make sure they understand I'm earning or I'm going to get this for doing my exercise program.
And guys, that's okay for like McDonald's, right? Like, if we're having McDonald's anyway, possibly, exercise and McDonald's is a little bit, right? Again, we shape things, like we kind of how to do that. So, we try that.
And then pair exercise with preferred activities and items. If they really like music, play the music when you're exercising. Put on their favorite movie or TV show while they're exercising. It's just like when you were or I go to the gym or run or whatever. If there's some sort of fidget they really like, take that with you on your walk. They can carry that. If there's maybe some sort of healthier drink or something that they like, they can drink that during the exercise. So pair it up so it becomes, if nothing else, it's a neutral activity for them. Does this sound familiar, like your typical programming? Oh. Yep. All right, programming. Include exercise in your daily lesson plan. You know your learner best. If they're going to give you their best output first thing in the morning, hit it in the morning. If they give your best output in the afternoon, do it in the afternoon. Think about yourself. When do you like to go to the gym? They're probably similar to that. At first, this is probably going to be one of your most challenging tasks. So, again, you might want to be doing this first. You might want to have more reinforcement or reward that they could earn for this. Non-negotiable, this needs to be a shared experience with your client. So you're quite literally doing the workout or the exercise with them. I think it really shows them that we are doing this as a team. This is a group activity. It's not you forcing your compliance on them. You guys are doing this together. So when I have Steven or Duncan and they're sweating their ass off in the 100-degree Austin heat, they look next to them and Josh is doing the same thing. That you need to be doing this together. Always have a crisis plan. You might be in some new and different challenging environments. A gym has obviously a lot of potentially dangerous equipment and weights and things. So have a plan. What are you going to do if your client engages in some sort of challenging behavior? It's a good chance it's going to happen. My guy Duncan, he did sometimes engage in flopping behavior. And there's in Austin, we have fire ants, we have scorpions. I think there's snakes. And so what are you going to do? What are you going to do when that happens? Have a plan. All right. And then lastly, and maybe the most important part of this, do not live in the friend zone. If you're not familiar with what the friend zone is, you have that special someone you find very attractive. You like them. You're talking to them. You're in a situationship. You have a crush on them. You're in a relationship. And you want more from that transaction. And they don't reciprocate that. And it sucks. Well, when our clients are overly prompt dependent and you're not fading your prompts fast enough, you're not gradually increasing their distance, increasing their duration, their repetitions, their weight, you're going to get stuck in the friend zone and it's going to suck.
True.
Anything else?
Oh, yeah, it's fun for you. Oh, yeah, right?
Oh, God.
Really quick, pairing is about having a shared experience. I hate when people are like, well, I put the TV on for him. No, you're gonna put TV on for him, watch it with him, talk about it, do something. I get so sick when I go to any clinic or any school, and I'm like, well, we gave him a cookie. Well, I don't know, shared experience, maybe have some cookie with them. But anyway, just be part of it, man. Okay, insurance. So think about your PV map, your FL ABLES, PFA SBT, right? Think about these things. You crave with your goals. And well, we obviously want generalization. How many times have you guys heard? How many people here work in clinics? I'm just curious. What was the biggest thing you always hear from parents? Like, well, they can do it here, but they can't do it at home. Guess what? You're doing a bad job. You don't mean to. But like, if they keep saying it, generalize, man. You gotta do something. What you're doing is not working. So always look at yourself first, right? Like I believe that. Like if it ain't working, look at yourself first. You can't blame the kid. They have autism, right? You're the one who's doing the program. So it's the biggest barrier in any program is the adults. It's never the kids, right? I'm not saying you guys are bad at your job. I'm just saying, think about what you can do about it. Okay. So I wrote a whole bunch of possible insurance goals for you guys right here. And every single one of these goals you've written, you've seen. Every single one. Start small because a lot. Stephen will correctly tack 25 correctly in 5-6 sessions. Guess what? Maybe that means dumbbell. Maybe that means treadmill. Maybe these are things. You don't gotta say, I want him to work out for 25 minutes a day. You're not saying that. They're gonna say no to that. Right? But now these things are important, right? He will take 15 actions, right? A pretty good thing to do. Anything that you teach at the TAC or really anything, at one point is either probably a neutral stimuli you didn't care about, right? So it wasn't a big deal. Well, now they care about it. It has meaning to them. Hopefully it's reinforcing. We'll respond as listener for 25 objects, right? Hey, Chris, get the 5-pound dumbbells. It's a real thing, right? Because we're not going to use, guys. Nobody in the real world goes to you and says, touch the picture of a 25-pound dumbbell. It drives me crazy when you picture all day. I get little kids and you get these kids who are older using pictures, unless they love it. That's a little different. So we'll respond for 20 different commands, right? So hey, I want you to do 20 push-ups or whatever it is. These are real things that you would do, but we don't think BB map and how I've done for every single kid, every time you copy and paste, we've all done it. Think beyond that, because we're better than that, right? So you will complete 10 previously required tasks in 5 consecutive days. Well, that's pretty important if you're going to do a workout routine, right? It's also one of the main things on the EFL, right?
Yes.
Single count items are actually up to 20 for 5 consecutive sessions. It's awesome if you count, if they're doing, bench press and they got to do 10, but they can count themselves. It's a real thing, right? A lot better. But still, that can probably also help during this kind of other things, right? Team will currently follow 20 gross motor without objects. I don't even got to explain that one, right? Next one, with objects, right? Pretty easy. You're doing this anyway, guys. These are all goals you've written. You've written these goals. You haven't just written them, they've been approved, right? Stephen will match 20 objects for 5 consecutive sessions. I was even thinking about seriation, right? When you put your dumbbells away, you 20 to 25 to 30, where 25s go, probably in between the 20 and 30, right? That's real seriation. Do you really care if they can do the diamond in a circle and everything? It's a nice prerequisite, but what does it mean? If you guys ever heard me talk before, I would say one thing about goals. Every goal you write, every one, you should, in your mind, you should say, in order to do what? If you can't answer that question, it's a shit goal. Right? Okay. Thank you. That's very good. Stephen will try to put items in their correct location. Absolutely. Right? Again, you've written this goal. One come more. Stephen will correctly put items in. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Stephen will correctly retrieve items for 5 consecutive sessions. Hey, go get the 5-pound medicine ball. That's two things. Medicine balls, right? Okay, last one. Stephen will engage in non-preferred activity with no maladaptive behavior for up to 30 minutes for 5 consecutive sessions. That's the goal, man.
Yeah.
Because who wants to go work out right now? You might want to around when you're talking about it. But let me tell you something. I don't ever want to work out. But I love when I get there. I love doing it. Josh does. But I can tell you almost every single person we've ever done this with, they don't have a lot of bad behavior during a workout. Maybe the walking some we've seen, but they don't have, because they feel good. Why? I think we had that one slide about the endorphins and serotonin. That's probably why. Real quick, sociability. Josh,
I'm so happy CB is exercising more now. He seems more relaxed and is even sleeping better. He even fits into some of his old shirts now. That's from CB's mother.
Duncan's mother said, I cannot begin to express my gratitude to Collaborate for thinking outside the box to help Duncan. After years of doctor visits, professionals telling us how to try things that never worked, we were desperate. Everything began to change when you began incorporating an exercise routine for Duncan, and once Carla came on, wow, you saved my son's life. I'm worried the last one too, because I think the last one's really cool. Stephen used to be so engaged and active. Over the past years, he began retreating into himself and became a captive to his own body. And that's where I had that earlier. I said that was from his mom. Since Collaborate and Carla came into his life, he is happier actually going into the community more, and he is healthy. For the first time in his life, he is choosing healthy snacks. Josh has brought my son back. Program for kids, guys, this is real quick. I said this earlier about the whole 30-hour week thing. Just do gym with them, do fun stuff with them, get them moving, right? Make it fun, play games, teach them sports. Getting kids used to movement at a young age will help create a healthier repertoire. So how we make this change to our program? Where do you go from here, right? You just gotta do it. It's like anything, guys. You gotta start it. And so that's all we're asking you guys to do. We see it working. We see it happen for our clients. We know the science, right? We know it can happen here. We've shown you a few examples. I'm not saying it's gonna be perfect, but we'd love to hear from you guys. This is a real quick picture of this is Carla's information. You guys will all get these slides. She's happy to come to your center, to wherever, to a client's home. She's amazing. She's actually going to work on our RBT soon. So, and what does that mean for you guys? You can, help pay for what that's kind of cool. That's Chris, CB. His mom doesn't care. I said working out. He looks a little stressed, but he was in a good mood. If you, we want to work with you guys. So, if you guys have any questions, please let us know. We'd love to work with you guys on this. If you don't want to work with us on it, but you just want to let us know what you're doing, please let us know. We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Please share that. We want to hear that people are trying it. Just giving it a shot.
Yeah. So that's our emails. And then just a couple of cool announcements we'll just tell you guys real quick. One is we're going to start monthly in a collaboration with Independent Identity. We're going to be doing a once a month. With ATX ABA, we're going to be doing a test prep. It's going to be for RBTs or for BCBAs. This will be free to anybody who's a member of ATX ABA. It'll be like 2-hour sessions, but if they're not a member, they should become one because it'll be a lot cheaper. It'll be like $10 per session. We do it. We're not going to charge a lot just to just there. We'll let you guys know about some times and dates. And then last, we haven't let anybody know this yet, but we love you guys and love ATX ABA, and they've given us a platform. We are opening a center later this year. So we're going to be focusing on young kids as well, but we're really going to be focusing on adults and adolescents. So we're excited. So thank you guys. I know we probably don't have a lot of time. If you have questions, you can come outside and talk to us, or yeah.
What insurance do you think?
We're trying to get with all insurances. We also do state clients, the state waiver stuff. It's a little tougher just because you have a BCBA doing that. We are doing that. So yeah, but yeah, we can talk about that. But yeah, we're taking, or if we're not in your insurance, we'll try and get in right away.
Second,
Mhm.
you brought up a good point. You got talked, it felt really bad. I'm supervising a lot of behavior techs that take it personal.
Oh yeah.
And how do you describe that to your trainees? Not to take those, what they call my clients are mad at me today kind of scenarios. And I go through it and explain that's not the case. What would you say in that area?
It all depends on my mood. If my mood is what I usually would say is like, well, what'd you do wrong? Because it's their fault. Because we have to have that mentality, right? Mentality should always be, what can we do better in that situation? I'm not saying you're doing bad. It's like, I always tell people like what I do wrong. You only do it wrong when you know it's right, you shouldn't have to do it. You did the best of your ability, right? So I tell people that. So that's one thing. Like, so don't blame him, right? But I think it's a bad man, right? Now he manned it. He wanted to leave. I said no, so he can handle the no. Or he can handle the wait early. It's not personal. It's worked. It's worked in the past, and that's why they do it, right? Or I don't know. I didn't know the kids with autism were robots and they have to act a certain way at all times. Maybe they're having a bad day. I don't know. And so I think grace, right? Like, I think one thing that I would say is like to employees or anybody or to us, right? Like, give yourself grace, but give your staff grace and like allow, and more important, give that client grace. They're not perfect. They're here for a reason. Like when I go to a school, and you guys like, you give it go, you guys can go, it's totally fine. But like, just so you know what I'm saying, but like, if I go into a school and a teacher is like Sunday or something or not following, and I'm trying to be nice at first, I might end up saying like, hey man, I'm not here because this is going great. The kids hit me because there's something wrong. And they don't have the right behavior there, so we gotta teach it. So it's not about you, it's about the kid needing more skills. And the more skills one has, the less paper they have. We know that. So, so what I guess I want to like end with this is okay, Josh, like when thinking about these things, it's not just about working out exercise, it's about taking those like skills that you really want to see in the real world, right? Be creative. All the goals are there for you. Like you have access to so many goals that insurance will say yes to. Just be creative. Like you gotta do dance a little bit, right? So just be creative, have fun with it. Like this is the best job in the world, right? Like be fun with it, so make it fun. Cool. Thank you guys. Sorry, went over a little bit. Very sorry. I mean, it's like I'm like, what are you doing?